Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
What's up?
Welcome to the 157th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with co-host Andrew Norman and Lily C. Today's topic is the fire of freedom. Would you like to share what this means to you, Andrew, and why you're happy to discuss this here today?
I would. Good to see you back, Miss Lily. Look like you're not in work. She's not in work mode today, Milan. That's
No,
cool.
no,
Look
at her.
You look very nice. You look very nice. Great, very nice. It's good to have you back. Good to see you, Milan. Missed you. This is our Wednesday, so it's been a few days. So I missed you. That phrase. Look, the fire. What is it? What do we get? Fire. What is
the
it?
Fire of freedom.
Fire of freedom, right? We all know that Milan's burning up. We know I'm burning up. Anybody on this podcast is pretty much burning up for some recovery. It's a flame that burns deep inside of me, and I think all of us have our own source of that flame, right? But what it is to me is it's freedom from the obsession and compulsion that used to have me completely enslaved to my disease. Being able to come out of that. So the fire of freedom, once I got freedom, and I was able to grasp it and I was able to attain that and actually keep it for myself. Oh, sorry about that. And I was actually able to hold on to it, freedom and holding on to it. And you got to build up some kind of natural ability to keep and help stoke that fire, right? We got to stoke that fire somehow, right? I'm now free from shame. I'm free to grow. Because I'm not using, I'm no longer, I have choices today. I didn't have a choice, in active addiction. So the fire part, that's just the passion and energy that comes from knowing like my life, like this life is actually possible. I can actually go through these problems that I'm having and I can do it clean and I can do it the way y'all told me to, right? Like leaning on the fellowship, leaning on the group. And, it's this burning commitment inside of me to stay free. I want to continue to stay free and continue to have choices. So when I first got here, it was just a little spark. That's all I needed at first. Like because I didn't have anything. I didn't have any kind of spark, no light in my life, right? It was just a little spark that I saw people with light in their eyes. I saw people walk that were in these rooms, peaceful every single day, day in and day out, while I was sitting there just trying to hold on for dear life. I saw people in meetings, with who were laughing from the heart, joyous laughing, right? Like just little things that I didn't have in my life. So that was like the first light, right? And then I got into step work, get into these rooms, you start developing relationships with people, you get a sponsor. Once I got a sponsor, it really catapulted this whole thing, right? I've got somebody who can really, really show me the way here. And has been through pretty much anything that I'm going to come up against, and then has signed on to go through this thing with me and to learn everything about me. That's where we talk about the therapeutic value of us helping each other is without parallel. So we'll get into all that with our questions and stuff, but the flame itself is spiritual for me now. It's a spiritual flame that continues to grow, and as long as my will is not the source of that fire anymore, right? Like in my disease, my will was running the show. It built the fire, it was stoking the fire, it was doing the whole deal. Now it's compartmentalized for me. God, who I choose, my higher power, I choose to call God, call him whatever you want. He's the one he's the origin of my fire today, right? Like my self-will. The only time my self-will comes in is to stoke that fire and to keep it going. But it never comes in enough to like control what's going on with that flame, right? Because I have to give it up. I have to continue to surrender, and I got to out surrender this thing. We're really, really. This is since March, we got to out surrender this thing, Milan. it is the way. It is the way. It is the way to do it. And so I will pass that to you, Miss Lily, and then we'll go around from there. What does this mean to you? What does this phrase mean to you? Nice to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you guys. Um, and that's epic. What's up? Took me back to the scary movie era. Well, yeah, the fire, hey, yeah, that you know, at the beginning I didn't know the meaning of I was brought up very Catholic with a lot of good morals and values and a thing called faith. And when I was all lost and in the darkness of all sorts of madness, yeah, I didn't, that was the one thing. The spirit was dead. It was living in darkness, right? It needed a spark. And not only, sorry to crosstalk, Andrew, surrendering
You're allowed to
without the,
crosstalk here.
oh, okay,
We
let's
almost
go,
called
Oh,
this a
yeah.
Mark.
crosstalk. We're crosstalking all day around here. Come
Play ball.
on.
Um, um, yeah, so surrendering, yeah, surrendering, not just daily. I'm not saying brothers that I'm doing it every second, every minute, but I'm able to recognize, and take accountability and responsibility when, the fire is out of hand, if you know what I mean, when those defects coming into play. Just so many things that I can recognize today with the tools that I have in recovery, and without the creator in my life today, I wouldn't be able to have all this I don't know. I shouldn't say I wouldn't be able, because I know there's people that don't believe in a higher power. So I'm just reflecting on my own journey. Without that higher power, that the creator, I wouldn't be able to surrender and hand over all those faults and weaknesses, and in between the lines find the courage to continue this path with all this goodness I've been given, all this, this is a good madness. It's a good spark. And it's something I never want to put out, and yeah, all of us have gone, oh, sorry, pardon me. I have gone to the depths of hell a few times, but this time I came back with the light, and I don't want to go back to that. I know that where I'm coming from. I have the experience, and the gratitude, and to be able to be today humble. So humility for the first time, experiencing even that, and staying in my own lane respectfully, because not everyone feels what I feel. So I have to also respect that. I'm learning that as I go along, because what's worked for me isn't necessarily going to work for other people. But I do suggest always, always carrying the message, always, always doing the steps, finding a sponsor, leaning on each other, the unity, so that all participates in the fire, for me, right? The fire of freedom. Yeah, and that contributes into the freedom, into the happiness, to be able to enjoy all the little things that I, didn't think at one time were a big deal. Well, those little things today is a huge department store in my recovery. And that's what I've shared also. Like, I've worked really hard to where I'm at, and I've got some goals and dreams. And, at the beginning of all of this, I just received my 18-month chip for the liquid courage just on
Yeah,
Come
Sunday.
you
on. Come
did.
on, Lily.
Woo!
Come on,
Guess who
Lily.
loves you?
Let's go. 1.5. Let's go.
1.5.
Hell yeah.
And that has lots to do with surrendering, and not just to my addiction, like I was saying, but also to the defects, and being able today to be responsible, like I was saying, accountable and available, present, be an actual sober mother for my 25-year-old son. He just turned 25 on the 1st of August. That's
Woo!
madness
That's
also.
awesome. Man.
Yeah.
A proud mama
Hopefully,
right there.
it's very proud, and even more, if I may share, he doesn't have any problems like the ones his dad and I had with any DOC, or you know gambling, or any of the above. So it's all a blessing, all in its own disguise, and well, I guess now, for last in December will be 3 years off the DOC. And like I said, I just took the 18-month chip for the liquid courage, because yeah, I let go of
He's
the
doing it.
DOC, but on the side, along the way, I picked up the liquid courage, if you know what I mean. So But yeah, I don't beat myself up because at the beginning, you know, at the beginning, I really beat myself up mentally. And it was really affecting me mentally and physically, of all the, financial damage and physical and emotional and all this and that. But today, the freedom that I have today, I'm aware of, again, everything I've done to myself, and I'll put aside what people have done and go. And as the harms I've done, there's people have done me harms, and as I enabled people, people enabled me, and that's part of my healing. And a lot of things have happened since I've been born until now that I'm 50 years old. But I have healthy boundaries. I know what a healthy relationship is, healthy friendships, and so on and so on. And I also have learned with the fire of this freedom thing, that no is a complete sentence. So I have to
Yes.
hold on to everything
It
I
is.
have. I've fought the fight is, it's not over yet. The fight, absolutely not. The fight inside of me to stay sober, that is, not to fight people. But yeah, it's all some good stuff.
Sounds like she's burning up, Milan.
Very blessed.
Yes. I love you, Lily, and I love you,
Love you
Andrew, and
too.
I'm really grateful both of you are here. And the very first time I saw you on that Unity meeting share, I was like, man, there's a fire in that girl. I was like, boom. I was like, ooh, let's get Lily for the podcast. Lily's got some fire. And, for me, I call it my recovery fever, and I'm burning up all the time. And that fire is not coming from what my picture of freedom was when I was younger or in my addiction. I thought freedom was like, leave me alone, let me go use, don't hassle me kind of freedom. But the freedom now, right? It's like this passion and energy that comes from freeing myself from that bondage of addiction and self, and living in alignment with my principles. It's like doing the next right thing allows me to not have to worry about what I've done, what I'm gonna do. Like there's a freedom in integrity that is kind of an unsung hero in the world, because most people are not existing in that way. Most people aren't even trying to really 100% be honest or 100% be loving at all. But those that the purity of those things are what offers that freedom, and because it just allows me to like continually be changing and growing and reacting and being part of the world instead of the world being part of my world, you know like that fire just gets hotter and burns brighter the more I see that reflection in the eyes of others, like who we were 9 months ago when we started doing this, Andrew. Like, that's crazy. Or like the first time I saw you come on, Lily, like your fire's just burning brighter, and it's something that, it's like the more of that fire I can give away, the brighter my fire burns. I become a bigger conduit for more fire, and it's through service, it's through these podcasts, it's through my commitments inside my program to the groups that I'm part of. It's about opening the door for someone when I'm going in a place, and holding that until the last person goes through and entering after, you know and like when you were talking about humility, right? It's like not thinking about myself, or no, not thinking less of myself, but thinking about myself less. And it's
Mhm.
and it really is that. It's like I don't need to be the first one in that door. I got to make sure everybody gets in that door without it being a hassle, and that door in a lot of my life right now is the door to freedom for other people in their addictions. It's like taking that 5 minutes. Like, man, how many times you've been at a meeting and then boom, a newcomer comes and you got something to do after, but it's like, if you don't take 5 minutes to welcome and love that person into the room, it's probably the last time you're going to see them, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And so,
Mhm.
that fire of freedom is something that fuels my day every single day, but it's also something that I can't give enough away of.
yeah, man. Yeah, it's and it's contagious too. It's
Yep.
contagious.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna ask the first question.
Yep, you ask
I'm
Lily.
gonna ask you, Miss Lily. You ready? So when did
I think so.
you first feel the fire of freedom in your recovery? Tell us about that.
Wow. I think when I handed the will over, that's when I started, and even before I handed the will over to my greater power of my God of understanding. That's when I started to really embrace reality. Yeah, the foggy brain from the substances, that was all starting to come about. The brain was starting to heal. Um, but the most important thing was that will and the willingness, right? And also, actually, there's a few things now I think about, if I may add. Being that, I have to stay open-minded regardless of however I'm feeling, because that will has to be constantly surrendered also. And open-minded. Well, now I had to rewire and upgrade my way of thinking, because my way of thinking was very toxic. It was full of sabotage, and I was the victim always, and poor me, and that BS today has gone out the window, on the highway, out the window. Forget about it. And you know d- and then I being open-minded allows me to be teachable, and not just teachable in the recovery programs, but teachable in life, to be able to acknowledge and practice those values and those morals, and let go of those bad toxic behaviors and habits that today I don't have. The other thing also, may I get you to repeat the question? No, I'm just kidding. The other,
That's my
I'm gonna be throwing
girl.
jokes. I'm gonna be throwing jokes. You know me. No, and then also today,
Pro.
I'm so blessed that today I have the choice of people, places, and things. That fire inside of me also burns. I don't know if that makes any sense, but to me it does.
Hell
I
yeah, it
I
does.
don't need. I don't. And before I was one of those women that would always bring to the table and make people happy, if you know what I mean, not to get into big talk about
People
it.
pleasing.
And
People pleasing, dishonesty,
yes,
self dishonesty.
yes, sir. Yes, sirs. Right. So, and today, the only one I need to please before anybody is myself. And
Hmm.
if I don't, and I know that sounds, and I know this is a selfish program of recovery programs of all sorts, but just to be able to say that out loud, it almost sometimes makes me feel a little bit, I guess, a little bit uncomfortable that, should I be thinking like this? But
It's
that's
icky,
what's
icky
keeping me
feeling.
in
It's
my
that
own
icky
lane.
feeling.
Yeah, and that's what's keeping me in my own lane, right?
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
that's what's keeping that fire burning, the freedom, the happiness, the joy is 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 the fact that I decided every single day when I wake up to hand over that will, to be able to stay willing, right?
It's
So
beautiful. That's beautiful, Miss Lily.
I
That
almost
was
made
beautiful.
myself cry, and I'm trying really hard not to cry, but I might just cry, and I
Oh, we
think
want
that's
lots
That's
okay.
of
okay.
crying.
That's okay. That's okay. We're here for that. We're here for that. All right, Milan, I'm gonna ask you.
Yep.
When did you first feel the fire of freedom in your recovery? I feel like we're asking you the opening question for yourself now.
Yeah, man, first moment of surrender inside the program when I surrendered my addiction, it was that first speck of silence inside the insanity inside my brain. Like I was like this chugging engine of more. Like I remember wanting more while having more, thinking about more, and making sure I had more for later, like all at once. Like it was absolute insanity. And then it would manifest in also like when I was high, like I would be smoking and I couldn't wait to start smoking my next cigarette while I was smoking the cigarette I was smoking. Like, and turning that volume down on more with that first surrender was incredible to me. Like, I never thought that voice and that insanity could be quelled, right? Like, and then I was riddled with shame and guilt from my Catholic upbringing. Like, man, guilt was like, I was like, when I looked at the Ten Commandments, I was like, whoa, I've done everything but haven't killed someone. And I was 5, and I was like, fuck, like I'm screwed. I'm going to hell. Like literally, there's shame and guilt lacquered on right there. And so that step 5 of mine, it was like bang, there was more fire of freedom happening there. And then with the men's, it was like little bit more freedom, bit more freedom. And then this spring with the great resurrendering and my journey with gratitude since then and my journey with two-way prayer, it's all just kind of like building this massive fire. And it's funny because like here in BC, we deal with a lot of forest fires in the summer. And so it's like, those fires are not a good thing. But like I feel sometimes like I've lit a forest fire in my soul. That's like the greatest thing ever. Like I got to burn this mountain clean in order to start again. You know?
And burn it down.
Yeah. I need that renewal.
Start some more fires.
That's beautiful. Yep. Bro, like I have the same look. I've had to burn this thing completely to the ground to be able to understand who I was as a man again, right?
Yeah.
Burn it down, burn that shit all the way down, then burn it some more.
Well, like I just don't even feel like the same person anymore. So it really does feel like, like first of all, like I was burning it down, but in a way that was possessing me. But now I'm burning it down in a way that's setting me free.
Love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sizzle Pan Starcic. Come on, man. All right, so I'm gonna answer that.
I was
I'm
gonna
gonna
add.
answer that.
I was gonna add something. but I didn't want to be rude, so I'll wait.
No,
Go
no,
ahead. No,
I'll
go
wait till
ahead. Go
Andrew's
ahead.
done.
no,
This
ladies
is
first. Come on.
Um. Oh. Also. When I had no more feelings of suicidal thoughts. I don't know if that's too intense, but I
No,
am gonna be
no,
honest.
we love it. We
we're on a
love it.
And I'm gonna be
podcast, bro.
honest.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when I knew something here in the recovery program, something just lit up, and it was also the will to live and to be able to fight, like to be able to fight, to stay sober. So yeah, that's yeah,
I
I
love
had to
that.
share
Beautiful.
that because
That's beautiful.
that was something also that was part of the journey also that I just was giving up. I had a
I think
plan.
it's important for people to know that too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you have something that comes up and we're like chopping it up, you just interject. We
Well,
are like,
you guys were setting up fires, and I'm like, should I come and save you guys?
Yeah, you just permíteme,
yes,
permíteme.
it's I just want to say something before I answer this question, Miss Lily. Your passion, your fire, and you're just sheer. Again, it's that compassion. I can see it on your face. It's written all over your body. Like you don't even have to say anything, and I'm like there with you. Like my heart is going out to you because you're here being honest, right? Rigorous honesty. We're sitting here talking about what we're going through, being honest, and it helps. This is what gets us better. This is our antidote.
Yeah.
This is our medicine today, right? So my answer, what is it? The question is, when did I first feel the fire of freedom in my recovery? It's a good one. I remember early on when I first got in the rooms, being in these rooms and just being so uncomfortable, not really super aware of my surroundings when they were talking about and when they were reading these readings, it all sounded like just jumbled to me. Like I really wasn't putting the sentences together. And at first I was staying clean. I was going to these meetings staying clean at a sheer just survival. It was like a survival thing. I was holding on by the skin of my teeth, by my fingernails, really. And I remember there was a time early, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 months in that I was sitting there trying to figure out if this was for me or not, or if I wanted to live or not, man. I was still on the fence of like going back to that old way of doing it or continuing to have this choice to go to meetings, right? To have that choice, y'all, we talk about. And I remember something, and the thing is, the whole time I was doing it, I felt really shaky. Like I felt like I was on borrowed terms, or I felt like if something really bad happened or anything that like shook me, I was going to go back to using. Like I felt like if anything happened, that I was going to go back. And that thing did happen. And when it happened, I remember sitting in my car. My initial reaction was to go get dope and to go use. I literally didn't even think twice about it. I hadn't even called the guy. I went and got in my car, and then something hit me, man. Something hit me. I remember I remember that moment. Um, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, where it was like I felt I thought about that first 24 hours. Like my first 24 hours just hit me like all in one time. And I remember like how I was laying on the floor. I remember the feeling that I felt. I remember when I had that grand mal seizure and I couldn't like press the gas pedal anymore in my car and I'm driving down the road. Like I remember those things. It all flashed on me. And that guilt and that shame, all that shit just hit me like a ton of bricks. And something told me that I needed to go to a meeting. They were like, go to a meeting. Something told me to go to a meeting. And that was God working in my life, man. I know for a fact, like he had me at that point. And I remember going to that meeting, and I remember just sitting in that meeting, and I remember how I felt afterwards. I remember the feeling, even though I felt really uncomfortable during it, I was so proud of myself. And it's those wars that we win that we don't tell anybody about. It's those wars that we win that we don't tell anybody about that are so special, especially early on. I'll keep it on me. When I was able to do that, I it was a way that I pumped myself up, and I realized I could use this to get over bigger things. I could use this to get through things in my life early on. And that's where I just really understood the value of this fellowship, being able to go to a meeting anytime on Zoom, and all these other things all these other little avenues that we have to stay tapped in. But I remember thinking about how easy it was going to go use. And then it hit me right after that, like something, and I have to say it was my higher power that hit me. There's nothing, what else would hit me? Right. There's nothing else physically possible that could happen. And my whole mindset switched to this new way of life, and to why am I going to go back to being a slave to the when I wake up, I'm literally wake up a slave to my disease. There was nothing I was doing on my own will, because my will was running it. So it was just a really, really beautiful experience. I remember the freedom. I remember choosing freedom over that, and knowing that freedom and that love for myself burned way stronger than any drug that was going to flame out by the next day. I remembered my mind also flashed to the couple people that I knew that had a lot of clean time that went back out. One that didn't come back at all. And I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be that statistic. And so that's my answer, man. It's a beautiful time in my life, and I'm able to tap into that time a lot when things come up. So
I love that. Thanks, brother. Lily, do you have a question for me?
No.
Okay.
yeah,
I've got questions. I got lots of questions. I always come extra prepared.
So this is Lily asking you the question.
Well, no, I'll just ask. Like we'll just ping pong
Thank you,
back
Andrew.
and
I'm
forth.
going to think of a quick question. Thank you,
Yeah.
Andrew, for having
That's
my
good.
back.
Oh yeah, we got you. We both got you.
Oh yeah. I always show up with like 4 times the required amount.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, Andrew, the fire of freedom grows when we feed it with daily spiritual action and fades when we neglect it. How do you personally keep your recovery flame burning bright?
Wow. Well, I do lots of extracurricular activities, Milan. We're doing a podcast right now. I'm of service. I'm always involving myself in the fellowship. I mean, everything that I do, it revolves around this fellowship. It all, other than like my work and stuff like that, right? Like I do have a personal life. But you got to stay tapped in, right? Like if like as soon as I find myself like not going to meetings and things like that, like it's like I'll lose that motivation on hard days. You know what I mean? On those hard days that I want to push through, when I don't want to be at a meeting, if I'm not of service, I'm not going to be at that meeting. And so I've learned that I have to set myself up for success, right? Like recovery is not always smooth. Sometimes I wake up tired, stressed, overwhelmed. The fire just reminds me. What was that noise?
It's like an echo.
Oh, that's crazy. I thought it was like God talking to me. I was like, hold on a second. But yeah, but look, the fire reminds me like I worked too hard to go back. Like I'm free now. I got to protect my freedom. I have to protect this freedom. And my old thoughts do creep in. I have a lot of old thoughts that creep in. There's nothing I can do about that. But when they come in, like I'm always reminded, like I always have to remind myself it's not worth it. And it keeps me in gratitude. Like gratitude you know, and this whole fire thing is not just excitement. Like, and then I learned this. I thought about this. Excitement fades. Excitement fades, but passion stays. Right? Passion stays. So I'm here on this passion trip, not on an excitement trip. You know, it's not pride or ego. Like if I get prideful, I can lose everything. The moment I get prideful, I can really step myself in some nasty situations. So it's that humble, I call it a humble gratitude that burns like fuel in my life today, right? It's that humble gratitude that keeps my fire burning in a controlled environment so I don't get out of control, you know, because fires are great, but if they get out of control, they can burn the house down, man. You know, that's why you got to keep them in the fireplace. You got to keep them in the fireplace, man. You can't be doing a fire out in the middle of your living room floor. You got to keep it in the fireplace. So
Just
I love
set
that. Yeah.
just set the entire house on fire, including the bedroom and bathroom.
you know, it'd be like, I'm burning up. Yeah, I'll burn the whole shit up.
I actually, when I was 4 years old, tried to have a campfire in my closet. My mom came in to like an 8-inch flame burning in the middle of my closet. I was
Aren't you
like,
proud, Mom? You proud? Look.
Oh,
That's awesome.
so, okay, Lily, the fire of freedom grows when we feed it with daily spiritual action and fades when we neglect it. How do you personally keep your recovery flame burning bright, Lily?
I have to stay where the seed has been planted. So, and I got to keep watering it and allowing and trusting people to water that. So what you see in front of you took almost 3 years to, like, again, to upgrade and to surrender that ego. That's a constant thing. I cannot that ego is in a vault, chained up in an electric chair. Yeah, and if it no, it cannot allow to sabotage what I have going on right now, because that ego is what really uh participated. It's very dangerous. Let me put it simply like that. It destroyed a lot. And again, accountability and responsibility, that ego belongs to me, right? So staying focused on what I have to do. And it's not just surrendering. I mean, it comes down to like prayer, meditation, service work, like Andrew was saying, being present. When I put my name on that list when we're doing those meetings in the recovery programs, that's what I mean by being present. It's not and being present for the community, because I'm also have branched out to other things like mental health, domestic violence, you know, the detox center. And now I've gotten a little fire, like I was sharing with, may I share what we talked about there, Milan? Or
Oh
no, is that
yeah, absolutely. No, and in fact, like I was going to get to a point to plug
oh
Lily's
okay,
upcoming
sorry.
podcast. No, no. So I'm saying if you want to share, share it. Lily's got some good
No,
shit.
not that, but I
Oh,
meant that my education.
oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
We
Go.
want all of it. Bring it
Yeah.
all. What's my
Yeah.
name,
No,
Skip?
we're not
We want to hear
filtering
about
you.
it.
This is no filter on the fire.
Don't even ask if you can talk about it. Just talk about whatever is on your
Yeah,
mind, girl.
so allowing all this beautiful energy that's going through me, and my spirit is alive today, that I don't want to die. I want to live, but I feel that there's more purpose. So that's where I'm going at, like doing all this service work. I don't know, like I beautify people, you know, from day to night, Monday to Sunday, no matter whatever they need at an adequate time, obviously.
What's the name of
Um,
your company so people can get a hold of you?
well, I don't want people to get a hold of me in the middle of the night saying they need their eyelashes adjusted.
During
It's
normal
it's called
hours, of
It's
course.
called Great Lengths Beauty Studio. It was
There
named
you go.
almost 13 years ago from my son. And, you know, just to wrap around that, Great Lengths, like I went through the Great Length to do all sorts of madness, insanity of all sorts, to go get my DOC and just go ballistic on liquid courage. Like this journey just blows me away, that I'm not trying to say, hey, it's a coincidence, because I'm at the age right now where I don't believe in coincidences, right? But back to the topic. Yeah, going back to education, you know, even if it's a life coach or of some sort, or recovery coach, just to get it out there that recovery is possible. And that's what when I carry the message right now, um, not right now, but for the last almost 5 months, that's what I've been saying lately, that the fight is real, you know, and to be kind to each other. That's the other thing also. Be kind to yourself, you're kind to yourself, then you can be kind to others. If you are full of love and you love yourself, then you're able to love others, right? So, and that recovery is possible, but it's up to you. The work is up to you. We're gonna we're gonna give you the tools. We're gonna give you the love. We're even might even sponsor you in between all of that. At the same time, you have to do the work. It's your fight.
Mhm.
If you want to fight, get ready to fight, because you're in for a long, long war if you want to live without without any DOC or any of it, right? So
I love that.
Facts, big facts.
Ooh, boy. Okay, so how do I
yeah.
personally keep my recovery flame burning bright? You know, the very first thing that comes to my mind is curiosity. I have to maintain curiosity. You know, and how do I maintain curiosity? I continue to learn. And the more I learn, like, you know, I think recovery is like this upside down pyramid where it's like I start with like knowing nothing, and every level I see how much wider it is for me to learn. And for me, I'm like a curious George these days. And one of the beauty things about doing this podcast is getting to come on, talk these topics with other like-minded individuals who have these super amazing souls that share something with me that isn't a way that my brain or my ego would have brought it out, you know? And then a big way for me right now that's keeping my recovery flame burning bright is that two-way prayer that I started. You know, gosh, it's going to be 4 weeks this Friday. Like, it's crazy. So, you know, they say to try it for 30 days. And I'm telling you right now, it's a life-changing, epic adventure, because what happens, it keeps kind of giving me the direction that I need to be going in my growth, and making my days simpler events, to be honest. And, you know, my fire burns bright because I am learning how to surrender in my life, you know, and it's something that is not like a one and done, you know, like, "Ooh, I just surrendered anger. I'll never be angry again. Look at me, Mr. Nice." That's fucking bullshit. You know, it's really like, it's something that's going on and on. But, you know, like, there's now moments where I can pause and I can walk away, or I can, you know, I'm like fastest step 10 in the West. I'm sorry.
Step 10, Starcic.
I shouldn't have. This is what I should have done. This is what I'll do next time. Like, you know, I'm trying, and I'm just loving it. And a big part that keeps my flame burning bright right now is, you know, my sponsorship, you know, like the people that I'm sponsoring, you know, right now my sponsor and I are kind of touching base here and there, but you know, he's kind of one who believes in a regular meeting while you're going through your first set of steps. And after that, it's just kind of, a relationship that we maintain. But with my sponsees, you know, I'm really active with a couple of them right now, and one of them on a daily basis, where it's just, every day we talk about a spiritual principle off this list of 100, and we both share on what it means to us, and how what's, you know, how it's involved in our life, right? And it's a it's a great contact point, and you know, there's a lot of things I never considered as spiritual principles. You know, like where I look at it and it gets said, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, how am I even involved with that at all? Am I even acknowledging that I have any knowledge of it? And that kind of shit, learning something like that every day keeps my fire burning. And then this podcast fires me up on a regular basis, just getting to be around awesome individuals. And and man, like, woo, both you guys got a nice little warm recovery fire. I'm just like warming my hands right now to your recovery heat.
Love you, man. I love you, bro. All right, I'm gonna ask Lily a question.
Yep.
All right, Miss Lily, you ready?
I think so, yes. And I'm gonna
Ha-
push the button now. Go.
Go.
Boom. All right. So
Oh,
how do you keep the fire burning when life gets tough? How do you keep that fire burning?
How do I keep that fire burning? Yeah, you know, when things get up, you know, because I'm living on real life terms now. I gotta hand it over. I gotta let it all go. And there's things that I'll be able to control, and there's things that I'm just enjoying the ride. I mean, I like I said, when things get crazy, and not just mentally, I have to surrender all of that to the professionals. You know, because they've given me, you know, the coping skills to balance out mental health without prescription. I'm just starting to get text messages here for services. You guys jinxed it. I'm trying to take the day off. May I get the question asked again? I'm sorry.
Of course, yes, ma'am. So when the road gets a little rough, you know, when how do you keep that fire burning when life gets tough? When you get tough stuff that comes up.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for your patience.
You're welcome.
Milan, keep that fire burning. The practicing what I've been taught. It comes down to that. I got to stay teachable. I got to practice everything that I've been taught, and carry on and use it wisely. So yeah, it comes down to surrendering also, and prayer is a big, huge part of it. Huge part of it. The serenity prayer is a big, huge part of my recovery. I mean, I was taught that prayer at a very young age. I just never practiced it. I lost faith in the higher power at a very young age also, if I may share. Just you know, I used to pray as a little girl, let this go away and that and this and that, and let this stop and blah blah blah, and nothing, you know. So prayers weren't really answered. But now that I'm older, maybe they, in a way, I think maybe they were being answered, just that maybe I wasn't listening. So I I've got to stay, teachable to be able to practice what I've been taught. And yeah, and also when those days are kind of bummy, and I feel that mental health is just not going to do it, my sponsor, surrendering to my sponsor, and be courageous. And today I'm courageous enough to be vulnerable to ask for help. I wasn't like that before. Yeah, 18 years ago, after my dad passed away of colon cancer, yeah, I was focused on mental health, but I was lost in the darkness. So I would show up at mental health and get my prescription refilled, yada yada, and I was abusing all of that stuff that today I don't. I mean, sometimes I get asked, you know, do you think you need something for that anxiety? I'm like, no, I just need to go take a cold shower, you know, put my coping skills with my anxiety disorder that I have, panic disorder. And I know when things are about to mentally, sorry to get off topic here, but the mental illness, I know who knows your body better than yourself? So within this journey, yeah, I will not take prescriptions. That's the other thing also that I surrendered when all this journey began. So recovery journey. So yeah, and picking up those books, those recovery books, prayer, you know, the step work. I'm never going to graduate out of this. I get it. But I know that if I stay loyal to myself and honest and stay open-minded and willing, I'm going to be a success story. So, and people, places, and things. I know where I need to go mentally, to the people and the places. And I know the things I don't need in between all of that, right? So the things is what the program has given me. And those people, that's the fellowship. And the places, those are the recovery rooms. So, and podcast and Zoom meetings. And yeah, I can go on and on with this one.
Come on, Lily.
I can't forget the prayer. I just cannot I don't get enough prayer. I mean, I do pray quite a bit. And then the meditation, now I'm able to meditate, which took a little bit of practice, but like right now I'm meditating.
Yeah.
See that? And good things happen to people who pray and are prayed for, Miss Lily. That's a fact. That's a fact. So
good things happen to us every day.
Yes. As long as we stay clean.
And yeah, that's the thing, you know, the magic of all this, the fire of all this is that it didn't come right away. It didn't come right away. No.
Yeah, trust the process. Got to trust the process.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I had to stay. I had to stay and keep coming back and keep coming back and keep getting that cup filled. And then one day I can't nail it on what I heard, but I heard something that allowed me to ignite the fire.
That's beautiful. Yeah, if recovery is my roadmap, these meetings and these podcasts and things, these are my gas stations. This is where I fill up. All right, I'm gonna ask you, Milan.
Gas station for the fire. You're on fire.
Yeah, that was a great one.
I didn't even think about the fire part of that. I was just talking about the gas station of being on the roadmap. Recovery is a roadmap. this is my gas station, right? And so we're gonna burn it. We're gonna keep it burning this way. We'll stop and get gas for everything. All right, cool. I'm gonna ask you, Milan. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So how do you keep that fire burning when life gets tough and the road gets a little rough, man?
So one of the things that has been kind of a big part of my lesson since the Great Resurrendering of March 2025 is reframing how everything is in my life. And so basically, I learned from a lady that I met that, she is so far the ultimate person I've met for gratitude. Finding gratitude in every moment is the secret sauce to life being better. And so to her, as described, in one of her shares, it's either a lesson or a blessing. So, like those bad days, that's a preference choice on our part or on my part, I'll say. It's an expectation of what it should be. So, what I'm trying to do now is step back and see what is my preference here that's causing this pain, and and then step back one time further and be like, what is my motivation for wanting that preference? Like, am I, and 9 times out of 10, it's selfishness. It really is. It's an ego thing where it's like I either fear of losing something that I have, a fear of not getting what I want. And so, now I'm really trying, I had a prime example this morning, man, just like woke up with a conflict with somebody and had to step back and be like, whoa, like why am I defending a position here? Like I'm not even sure I believe in my where I'm coming from, and to be able to step back, to make an amends, and to offer what I could, the only solution that I could see that might, calm the conflict. And it worked, and now it's move on time. But it's like, me dying and having a house burned down and losing everything. Those are two events in my life that caused me immeasurable pain at the time. And now are two of the greatest gifts of my life. Like, one of them freed me from my addiction, and the other one freed me from Ontario and a life and a person that I was with and everything that would have been me somewhere not really getting to be me. But at that moment, it was my preference that was like butt hurt and all, in pain about it. But now, like, sometimes we can't see the lesson for the pain. Because why? Because it's really painful to get told we have to let go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like, it's real easy to be like, oh, I can surrender to a wonderful day. Oh, look, I got a bonus on my paycheck. It's another thing to be like, hey, you just lost your job, but guess what? In 6 months, you're going to have a great other job that you don't know about. But you're like, no, no, I want this job. What am I going to do next week for groceries? You know, but
Yeah.
it's true. And so, you know, one of my part of my prayers now is thank you for the struggles because they are teaching me how to grow, and
Yeah, man.
keeping that awareness is helping me digest those times that I would call the struggles.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love you, man.
I love
All
you.
right.
I
So
love you
how
too, Lily.
love you too, Lily.
Beautiful. Love you
So
too.
how do I keep the fire burning when life gets tough and the road gets a little rough? So and it does, and it still does. It still does. And I don't use drugs anymore to cancel out those emotions that pop up when things do, and what I have to do, and I know that like this fire and all that shit's not gonna keep itself going automatically. Like, I'm aware of that, and fires can fade into a flicker, right? And I look at that flicker time, like when a fire is flickering, it's getting ready to go out. Like, that's a really, really hairy place for me to be. Where like if one gust of wind comes through there and it goes out, like I'm done, right? And so I used to run really, really well in that spot. That was my activation spot back in my disease and in early recovery. I could say early recovery as well. That's not the case anymore. when that old, when it's out, when I'm at that flicker, that's when that old disease thinking kind of creeps in. But when I do that, I double down on the basics, and you hit on a lot of good stuff, both of y'all. The literature, right? I hit the literature. These books, man, are God's love letters to addicts. They are God's love letters to addicts. That's why I read them. That's why I love reading them. That's why they're like, it's like love to my ears when I read them, especially The Living Clean, man. The Living Clean is a fucking poem.
Ooh,
And
isn't ever.
it's a love poem. So and I don't care like if the feeling is repetitive or boring and then another thing, going to meetings, just doing the basics, right? It might feel repetitive, it might feel like silly, but it's what I have to do. It's what works. Me going into a room full of people who understand that me getting this shit off my chest is going to give me fuel to keep going. That is therapy for me. That is therapy for me, right? I understand that y'all understand me. Y'all get it. And so on top of that, I lean into like my sponsor, my support network. I tend to want to isolate, and then I'll make that uncomfortable phone call or answer that uncomfortable phone call, whatever it is. The prayer meditation thing, I pray. If you don't know how to pray, push, pray until something happens. PUSH, pray until something happens. It'll start happening. I promise you, but you have to give this thing up, and you can't be using. You're not going to have any conscious contact on drugs. But lastly, this is a big one for me. To keep that fire alive, sometimes I have to take action for somebody else. Sometimes sometimes I have to get outside of myself and do something nice for somebody. And that's where the service piece comes in. Like, I need to go give that homeless guy $1. I need to go open up that door for that lady, because I'm practicing compassion in my life today. That's how I practice being compassionate and being a better person. And holding that door for everybody walking through, Milan. Goodwill. It's how I make amends to myself. I'm living amends to myself every day. Not just saying I'm a better person. I'm living it out. I'm doing the better thing. It's how I give myself an attaboy to know like I'm doing the right things today, and I'm staying principled. I've worked some steps. I'm going to stay principled regardless of what I think's coming up. It's that humble gratitude that I try to stay attached to, man. That is so elusive. It's elusive. Addiction is like being in a locked room and the door's wide open. You with me? Like, imagine being locked in a room and the door's wide open. That's what addiction is to me. And it's like I can't see the door, but I can feel the draft. I feel that there's a way out, but I can't get out. And I got to stay in the herd, got to stay in the middle of the street so don't fall off the edge. I got to stay on the bus. I got to stay in it, service, praying, going to meetings, being at business meetings. I've got to work harder at this whole recovery thing than I did in my disease. And I was a savage in my disease, man. I would do anything to not feel sick. So I've got to do that now. I got to do anything to not feel spiritually sick. If I'm spiritually sick, I'm real close. When I can't hear my own thoughts and I'm not able to tap in with my own feelings and my thoughts about a situation, I know I'm close. I got to back up. I got to get rid of those secrets. Secrets cause stress. Stress will kill you faster than a bullet will. So with that being said, that's my answer. NA's giving me a family born from love, not blood. And that shit's way more important to me going forward, because blood's great. We were born into it. There's special things about that, but a family born from love, that's what I need, man. That's what I need. Y'all are part of that family, so thank you.
Love that. Okie dokie. I got a question for you here, Andrew.
Yes.
This fire is not meant to be kept to ourselves. It's meant to light the way for others still walking in the dark. How do you share your fire with newcomers without trying to control their journey?
That's a great question. It's just how I live. It's how I live and do my thing, and I don't throw that on other people. So I have to live by example. And I understand nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. And it's how I choose to deal with my imperfections, and my imperfections is how I can inspire other people to do the same thing. They see me loving like a bat out of hell in these meetings. They want to learn how to love like I do. Keep coming back. You'll find out. And you know, if you ask me, I might just tell you. If you stick around long enough, you might hear it. And you know, I have to lean into the things that I'm good at, that make me feel good, that have got me here. You know, if I try to, yeah, I've got to keep it enthusiastic, so I got to change it up. But if I don't hang my hat on these things that I know work, then then I'll put myself in a tough spot. You know, I'll put myself in a spot where the people around me got to call me out, or my sponsor, somebody, or you know, something's going to come across my table sideways, and then I'm gonna maybe make the wrong decision, because again, we're not perfect. You know, my disease involved a lot more than the simple just using of drugs. Like like we didn't wake up with the exact amount of drugs in our little compartment here every single day, and it just magically appeared every day. I did a lot of work. Did a whole lot of work to get the people's numbers and to have my certain amount of drugs so I could live until the next day. I got to do that like with my recovery tools, you know, and staying tapped in and being the more I talk to other people, the more I receive that stuff in return, and the more I can live this principled life, you know. Um, got to win the battle with myself before I can win this war. You know, I got to win the battle with myself. Like you said, I got to burn it down. I got to burn it down and then make sure it's completely dead. I got to burn it down and then sear it down. Yeah, man, that was my answer.
Love
Great
it.
question.
Miss Lily, this fire is not meant to be kept to ourselves. It's meant to light the way for others still walking in the dark. How do you share your fire with newcomers without trying to control their journey?
With being mindful, and because we all have feelings. I know today I'm a brick house compared to the way it was at the beginning. I was just a major fountain. I was crying about every share. I didn't want to share. I didn't want to do any service work. I just wanted to sit there, and sometimes I would even want to leave. But I have to stay mindful and kind and full, and deliver that unconditional love, that respect, that, today I'm suffering less, way less than what I was when I first entered all of this. And again, the journey's not over, but I have to pay that forward. So everything that was given to me freely, um, it's my turn now to give that freely. And when I do share my experience, well, how we all share our experience, it's to be filled with strength and hope for the newcomers, for the ones that are struggling. And I love what Andrew, I'm trying to not move around too much, but I still got it replaying in my head about prayer, push until something happens.
Pray until something happens. Pray until something
Yeah,
happens. Push,
that's,
push,
that's
push.
push. That's beautiful. And yeah, and I'm one of those people, like, once I get an idea in my head, like if I went through all that, all sorts of lengths to get, you know, to be under the influence and to live in a very dark world for over 20 years, now being 50 years old, I think the fire's burning that I think, no, not that I think, I will now go through the great length to stay sober and to be able to carry that message that, the fight is real. And I don't mean, I'm going to say it like this. And I don't say it like this in the recover at the meetings and stuff, but you either going to live, you either want to live or you're going to choose to die. Those are the two choices. And in between that, you might see the hospital and maybe the police, but those are the two risks that you're going to take, is life or death. That's it. That's for me, those are the only options. And I want to live today. And the other thing, respectfully, as I'm going to continue saying this, is the fact that giving up right now in my life, giving up and deciding to go backwards is way too easy. So again, I like the fight. I like the smell of fire. I like adding fire to my fire. But without me staying and keep coming back and carrying the message, I won't allow this to keep going and going and going. And being able to fill my cup with other people's experience, because this is not just about me. This is about all of us. you know and then there's some people that when I say I have to stay kind and mindful, because before I would give my opinion, today it's not like that. May I say something? Would you like to hear how I feel? Would you like to hear some of my experience? You know, I wouldn't approach people like that before. I wasn't caring about other people's feelings. I was there to get what I needed and go to point A to come back to point B and then back to point A and then do what I got to do throughout the day, if you know what I mean. So
Hmm.
to live that life again, that absolutely not, and again, all the time that's been wasted in this, I stay mindful in that box also, because there's some people that suffer in silence with financially, and things that they've lost in between, and relationships and wasted time of this. Don't beat yourself up, because then that's going to end up, at least for myself, if I were to go back into that box of that mindset, then I'm back to the ego and I'm back to self-sabotaging and this and that. So yeah, surrendering is part of it, and admitting, absolutely, but accepting, and not just accepting that I am an addict. I am an addict, but at the same time accepting how life is unfolding itself, whether I like it or not, because this is the way I want to live. Programs have taught me that. All recovery programs have taught me that. You're going to get your cup filled, and maybe some days it'll be 3/4, maybe a quarter. And then it's up to me to keep filling that up throughout the day also, right? So the fight, right? So yeah, yeah, that's a great question. I'll be honest with you, two brothers here. I did not write down any questions, so I'm trying to find a pen to try to find something to write down some stuff, but
It's all right. We got you covered.
We got you.
Like
yeah.
don't create it as a
You
source of
guys,
stress, because we literally got you covered. If you come up with one, just be like, "Hey,
yeah,
I got one,"
thank you.
and we'll let you ask it. That's all. So
That's it.
yeah.
No worries. I got
So
you.
how
Well,
do
these are really good questions for the soul.
yeah, we do this all the time.
Yes, we do. We're professionals.
How do I share my fire with newcomers without trying to control their journey? I went to end of March. I went to a guy's 35-year cake, and he said, if you're sober, reasonably content with life, he's like, don't let anybody tell you how to run your program. And I really thought, after 35 years, the one message this guy wanted to share was freedom of people's own programs. I thought that was like pretty amazing, because I've seen some people get pretty locked in to like my way or the highway recovery. You see it with some people, because to be honest, and I think that it can be very fear driven, right? Like, for me, just like you were saying, Lily, it is life or death for me. Like, I really don't care how strict someone else is with their program. I just know, for me, I'm like a rinse and repeat, and that's the only way I'm staying alive. It's like I've got to run a tight ship, because my ship is real. Like, sinking in my ship is, I'm not going back there. I'm just not. And so when there's a newcomer, you know, I want to make sure that I am sharing my truth, but also my message, you know, and if they're attracted to that message, awesome, because that's the only thing that's going to keep them there. It's not going to keep, like, they say that we have one chance, that, the odds are that an addict or alcoholic will come to one meeting, and that will determine whether they continue on a path of recovery or not, ever, like, so being a controlling jerk is the last thing we ever want to do. You know, I want to tell them that they're amazing. I want to make them feel loved. I want to create a sphere of love and acceptance. And I want them to be like, whoa, look at, there's happy straight people. Because for me, I did not know what happy straight people were. I had like zero, like, the biggest group I was of in ever in my life of happy straight people was the first time I went to treatment. And there was like, all of a sudden there was like 11 of us sitting around laughing one day. And I'm like, have I been in a room of 11 straight people laughing and smiling? And I was like, I don't think so. At 51 and a half years, like, I was like, whoa, this is a new flavor to life. So, for me, I think it's, I think that I neither dim my fire for a newcomer. Like I let the shit blaze. Like if I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be silly, I'm going to be pro recovery because I am. I'm gonna share about what's working in my life, and I'm not dimming my fire just because somebody else didn't bring sunglasses.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. Hey, to keep it, we got to give it away.
Yeah.
Got to give it away.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
want me to answer? You want me to
Yeah.
ask?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Lily, right?
Yep.
All right, Miss Lily,
And
you ready? So,
before I
yep.
forget, and no judgment. That's the other thing
Yeah.
that was given to me. Like there was no judgment. Like I was so ashamed about my, like not today, but at the beginning to share my DOC. And when I was approached by some, but today, being a successful sponsor, my one of my sponsees is about to take 1 year on this Sunday coming up.
Yeah,
So
baby.
that's a blessing that thank you, whatever's been given to me, and that I'm able now to do that work with someone one on one. That's just it's very rewarding to the soul, spirit, the recovery, and to the recovery programs that this stuff works. Right, you just got to apply yourself and fight.
Who is this lady, Milan? Who's
Ooh,
this lady right
geez,
here?
like
Who
the
is this
fire
lady?
of
She's on
freedom, Lily
fire right
C.
now. What in the world? Hey, we're proud of you, Miss Lily. It's beautiful to see it. You brought a smile to my face and made my week with that, and that's beautiful. So thank you,
Thank
Milan.
you
What
both.
what does it look like to actively protect your freedom in recovery on a daily basis?
Are you asking me or Lily?
Miss Lily, sorry, I meant Miss Lily. Miss Lily,
Yeah.
what does it look like to actively protect your freedom in recovery on a daily basis?
Oh goodness, I use this word a lot respectfully as I say this. Some, right now, what I'm being taught also is that what everybody else thinks of you, Lily, who cares? This is your recovery, do it as you've been taught and yada yada. But I don't partake in. I go there for recovery. Okay, so I stay in my own lane respectfully. When the girls get the sisters sometimes, start playing the bullying part or he said, she said, and all this. Nah, it's time for me to go. So I'm right now, I'm very, very, very private in my life and who I led into my recovery circle. So back to people, places, and things. And sometimes those people are part of and it's not my inventory. I'm working very hard to where I'm at and the serenity I have today. There's no chaos in my life. There's no chaos. I'm really actually working on a kitten, and maybe that'll bring me a little bit of chaos, wrecking some of my furniture, but
Cute
overall
chaos.
kitty chaos. I do not want any slandering, putting down, gossiping. I don't want any chaos. So I just lost my train of thought. That happens. It's part of it's part of
You're an
my,
addict like us.
yeah, yeah.
It's part of the
So
damage we've done to our brains.
Squirrel
Like, who's
brains.
kidding who?
Squirrel brain.
it'll heal, the doctor says, being when the ambulance and all that arrived, yeah. But that's what they had to do to bring me back, I guess, gently said, right? So all of that did a little bit of brain damage to my brain. So, but that's what they need to do to bring people back when they're overdosing, right? So, but
Look
anyways,
at you now. Look at you now. Look
yeah,
at
I
you
don't need
now.
any of
Come
that.
on.
But exactly. Thank you. Don't let me cry. Look at all this Kleenex that I got going on. It's okay. It's good to
You came
cry.
prepared today. You came prepared today.
But it's okay to cry, and I'm okay to be. I was not a crier before. That's the other thing also. So
Tears are therapy.
when people, absolutely, the therapy behind this is and the fee for membership. Well, we all know the fee, right? Yeah, the desire to stop using. I've paid many, many, many dollars to professionals that, and respectfully again said, they have helped me, throughout the 18 years after my dad passed away of colon cancer. But in the 18 months, no, I've got a few journals that maybe one day will be turned into books, memoirs of Lily's recovery or something
Heard it
on the
here
lines of
first.
that.
The
Hearing it here
fires of
first.
freedom, Lily
Hear it
C.
here first.
You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Remember where
So
you came from, Miss Lily. Remember where you came from, Miss Lily. When you're doing book tours and we show up to your book tour like me and Mr. Little Milan, and you're like, who are these people?
She's like back of the
no,
line,
no,
boys.
you
Back of
guys
the
know
line.
I will never. I'm never gonna. This
To the
inspired.
back.
This is actually Milan and you have actually pushed me towards another project that I've been working, and it's been in the back of my brain for the last 2 years. So now that I'm healthier, yeah, I know my train of thought sometimes leaves, but maybe that's part of it. Is I have to accept also part of my health, right? And that yeah, that's just part of the damage, like Milan said, the damage that, addicts do to each other, do to ourselves, right?
Yeah,
Can you repeat
absolutely.
the question again? Sorry. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
it was what does it look like to actively protect your freedom and recovery on a daily basis? You've been answering it perfectly. You've been
Yeah.
answering
Yeah.
it just fine.
No,
You answered.
staying in my own lane, right? And then taking that pause, replaying the tape and not beating myself up in the sense, am I being mean? Because I'm a gentle giant. I've always been one of those people pleasers, but again, I have to please myself. And if that intervenes with up here and allowing anxiety or discomfort, I think that's the word I want here. Yeah, I have to step out and no, I'm going home. Thank you very much. Have all a great day. You're all in my prayers. I wish you all another victorious 24. So, and
It's
maybe
like you
that's
got
maybe that's too straightforward. Maybe I need to work on that. And then sometimes I just give everyone hugs and they already know, oh shit, something, and these are recovery rooms and I get it, we're there for each other, but I don't want to take and I don't want to be a bad example if I set off the wrong way or say the wrong thing to a newcomer to be discouraged not to keep coming back. So, or I decide, you know what, today's not the day where I want to embrace society. I'm going to take a me day and do a pedicure on myself, do my hair. I don't flip and know. Maybe even go through my closet and give to Goodwill in a bag, just little things like that. So I
yeah.
do have my moments, trust me, where if my serenity is tapped into, mm-mm, I've got to, and I was never like that. I was all about chaos and madness and gossiping and all this other unnecessary energy that today that's my balance. That's where my balance starts in the day. It's a good positive attitude, giving thanks to the creator for another day above dirt so I'm able to enjoy all my gifts and all the people you're about to send my way and all sorts of opportunities, right? So yeah, and just to be alive, it's not a right to be alive, it's a privilege. And people are like, there's just so much going on right now that I just smile and say, okay. That's another one of my favorite ones. Okay, everything will be okay. Keep praying. Push, push, push.
Yeah,
That's my
pray
new
until
one now.
something
Thank you,
happens. You
Andrew.
got it. You got it. You're welcome. What was I gonna say? Oh, am I asking another
Yeah,
question?
you're asking me the question.
I got lost. What does it look like to
Somebody's
actively what see, I got squirrel brain too. What does it look like to actively protect your freedom and recovery on a daily basis, Milan? Let us in.
Well, I keep bringing it up, but it's because I'm going through it right now. So I've been doing this two-way prayer, and part of what you kind of filter your responses from the universe is through honesty, pureness, unselfishness, and loving. And so one of the things right now for me is I realized that I'm not sure if I was ever truly loving and not having some kind of string attached in there. And so a big thing for me right now is I'm trying to keep no record of wrongs. Like an actual, like when I'm feeling like a defect or something coming in, it's almost always because I'm keeping a record of wrongs. Like I feel like, oh, I should have because I did. Like I should be treated a certain way because I'm treating a certain way, and that's keeping a record of wrongs. And it is a really horrible trap because then what it is that for sure you're not just offering love, you're offering a service and an exchange. And I want my love to actually just be love so that once I give it away, I don't have a string on it and I don't have to care about how it's coming back because that's just what I was doing. It's like when they say service for service sake. Well, love for love's sake in that same way. And so the only way I can be free is if I take the strings off the things I'm doing in life. And I really, really just am seeing that that is a massive high speed expressway to changing life. You know, and so the way that I protect my freedom is by trying to offer freedom. And you know, that's because the only way that I can do it is leading by example. It's not like if I put up like a fence around myself, all that does is shut off love from me too and to me. You know, like I one of the things that I learned on this journey of the quest for surrender is like that scars, you know, like things, scars on your heart hurt to pull off as much as put on. But the thing is that as long as you leave that scar on your heart, you don't have the capacity to love fully because you're filtering everything through the rest of your heart that isn't closed off. And so for myself, I really want to open myself back up to that flow with the surrender and the love and the honesty and that unselfishness because you know it's like another person said it's like you can beat your ego down to the ground but the ego is the fastest growing weed in the world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then my new saying from last week, love like it's the best paying job in the world because it is.
Ooh, okay, okay. Don't be
Yeah.
sneaking
Ooh,
into my love lane. You better stay out
wow.
of my
Now you're
love
talking my
lane.
love language.
You better stay out of my
It
love
is the best
lane
paying
and get
job in the
back in
world.
your acceptance lane, sir. Excuse me.
Love. How was that again, Milan?
Love like it's the best paying job in the world because it is.
Wow, that's powerful.
Hey,
Yes.
Miss Lily, love is the most powerful drug in the world. It's the strongest drug
Yep.
in the world, easily.
Absolutely.
Easily think about it. So here
Yeah.
I'm gonna so ask.
You got to answer this one.
I gotta answer this. I'm off. So
Yes.
what does
Eh,
it look like to actively protect my freedom and recovery on a daily basis? That's a great question. So recovery. Look, and I learned this a long time ago. It's not this recovery process that's painful. It's my resistance to it that's painful. Right? It's not the recovery process. That's just laid out. It's laid out. It's laid out. It's my resistance to it. It's my constant fight against it. Because when I get in here, like I want to complicate my way out. I don't want to identify my way in. I want to figure out why I don't belong here, as opposed to trying to figure out what I can do to help save my life and how I can adapt what y'all are doing into my life. So it's the basics, sticking to the basics even when I don't feel like it. Actively protecting from my freedom. I got to live with intention every single day. What I'm doing, I have to have intention behind my actions, behind my thoughts. I have to put intention into it. It's not just this big picture idea anymore. I have to be focused on a day-to-day basis from the moment I wake up, and that starts with prayer. I got to pray, I got to tap in. I'll say this a lot, like God always hands me my self-will every morning. Like I have sleepy eyes and he hands me this McDonald's big breakfast in my lap and he's like, here, have it. He's like, here, man, go ahead, eat up. I know you're hungry. He gives me orange juice. And then I go to eat it and he like just smacks me in my head like, are you dumb? Like, what's wrong with you? You don't know what to do. You don't even know. I didn't even give you any silverware to eat that shit with. What's wrong with you, man? What are you gonna do? Just dunk your head in it? So that it reminds me quick, I got to give that shit back. I hand that plate right back to him because I know I'm going to live free for that day. If I take one or two bites, like what am I going to be, a slave to my will all day? Right. I have to understand. And that's what it comes with time in this process too. It comes with a little bit of time. Going to meetings, calling my sponsor, being honest, rigorous honesty. That's my new thing. Not just being honest, rigorous honesty. When you put that rigorous word in there, you got to really come correct when you talk about being rigorously honest. It's about setting boundaries too. I got to set healthy boundaries and I got to maintain those boundaries too. I can't just say them and then fall back from them and get taken advantage of like I used to in my disease. Because there's that peace. When we get peace, we got to train our minds to be stronger than our emotions, Miss Lily. That's what it reminded me. The last thing you were talking about is we have to train our minds to run security on our emotions, or we're gonna lose every time. We're gonna lose every time. Peace. Look, peace gives me the stillness to hear what's going on, and awareness helps me put my finger on it. Like the awareness part is what helps me put my finger on what I'm doing. And I heard this. Look, did you know Do you know the estimated odds for each of us to actually be here is 1 in 400 trillion? For you to be born? 1 in 400 trillion. So we talk about like we're not miracles. Like the fact that your two parents found each other, 1 in 400 trillion, 1 in 400 trillion, and the fact that they had you, that shit is wild to me. We only have one shot at this thing, man. We only got one shot at this thing. And so like you have to awaken your spirit. And awakening is not like changing who you are. It's discarding who you're not. You with me? Discard all that disease, all that shit that you force yourself to be into, like that way of life. You gotta do the opposite of that. You gotta live this other way so that you can live happy, joyous, and free like we talk about. Because I promise you, come into these rooms, you start doing a little work on yourself, you can A, stop using, B, lose the desire to use, and C, find a new way to live, just like we all have. You know, we were right where you're at. If you're struggling right now, thank you for being here, and like you can do this too. You know, this is for all of us to do. Sometimes miracles are just groups of people with kind hearts, right? You come into a group of people with kind hearts, and that's a miracle right there. So I love you. I love you. I was getting off on a tangent.
Okay, Andrew, this fire is sustained by gratitude, which in turn turns even small sparks into sustaining warmth. What role does gratitude play in keeping your recovery vibrant?
Oh man. Well, gratitude is everything. Gratitude is the language of the heart. You know, and anything dealing with the heart deals with love. You know, it's that humble gratitude that's going to keep my fire going. You know, when I come in here and I hear people sharing their stories, and I realize that that they're in a way worse position than I am, but they're more grateful to be clean. It puts me right on track. You know, it puts me right on track. You know, sometimes God will slow you down so evil can pass. I heard that too. Like I have to lean into everything that's going on now because I've been doing this thing for a certain way for a little while now. And I have to have faith, man. Faith is like proving that we choose and we trust God's voice over our own vision. Like we all have these visions. Like we make plans and God laughs. You ever heard that? Like if you want to make God laugh, make plans. Because we'll make all these plans and then, you know, you show up for those plans and God will just cheese at you. You know what I mean? So faith is just proof that we choose God's voice over our own vision because my own vision got me here. And I have to realize like my next move that I'm going to make means a lot more than my last mistake I just made too. Right. And people don't see your decision. They don't see all the choices you had before you make your decisions. They just see that decision. So like, don't let yourself down about all those choices. People aren't going to see all those choices. Just make the right decision. I love you. Love you guys, man.
Love you. Okay, Lily, this fire is sustained by gratitude, which turns even small sparks into sustaining warmth. What role does gratitude play in keeping your recovery vibrant?
What keeps it vibrant? I think there's a few things. So picking up the phone when someone's trying to reach out because they're, you know, want to go and pick up. You know, I've even had to, you know, change from pajamas into just a pair of sweats and just to go and pick somebody up downtown to take them to the hospital. Because, you know, there were people there for me when I was in that state where, you know, the psychosis and all sorts of madness and you know and just to be able to today deliver that forward, pay that forward, um you know, being present. You know, I know this is going to still take a lot of more work. You know, someone has shared to me had shared, and it's been shared a few times, about God's lessons. And you know, and then I said, when is the fountain, like the tears, when are they going to stop? Probably never. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks for your honesty, right? But and then to show the example that recovery is possible, and and to show them from where I've come from and what's helped me. And but at the end, it all comes down to practice, 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 and work, and repeat, right? So I get it. It's the same thing, but I want to live. So it doesn't matter if this is the same routine over and over and over again. It's keeping me alive and it's allowing me the freedom of choice not to go and pick up. You know, that's a very great, these are all great questions. Very good questions actually help me understand, you know, where I don't want to be ever again, you know, and on top of that, like uh with this journey, I had to leave a relationship of 20 years, right? My son's dad, to get where I'm at today. You know, and a lot of things were thrown and today, you know, I don't have a relationship with my son because of my choice of leaving his dad, but again, he's 25 years old and the best choice to do was to start loving myself. I think that's where I'm going with this is without me being present of loving myself and practicing everything I've been taught and given. Um, yeah,
Love that.
I think that's all I have.
Love that.
You know, I
Beautiful.
was at a meeting on Monday night, and a guy was, crying about not having access to his kids, and another lady was like, "It took me 20 years to get back to my kids." She's like, "But at least I am now," you know, and healing and that all takes time. You know, it's a real journey right now with my daughter and me, and kind of my living amends and. We can't undo the past in an hour, and so what role does gratitude play in keeping my recovery vibrant? I just wrote in one of the songs I wrote the other day, it was like how I was missing all the miracles going on around me inside my using time and my addiction, like I there's not more miracles now. It's just that I have my eyes open and I'm clear enough to see the miracles and I'm expressing enough gratitude to see them, and that was one of my things that's come out of the two-way prayer is to practice gratitude in shorter intervals in my life. Because gratitude is one of our only like real actionable muscles that we can flex, like going to a gym to build up changing our lives in this program. Like the more I think about gratitude, the more gratitude I have. And it's just the effect of it. And so when people are like, "Oh man, I'm struggling. I don't really want to do my list because I'm not feeling them." And that's exactly why we think about gratitude, and start living in gratitude. Like gratitude, my first sponsor said, gratitude's an action. And if we just are like, "Yeah, I'm grateful for the trees," but you never go out and appreciate the trees. I get to talk to a bear this morning, and
You need to stop. You need to stop right now. These bear stories. You need to stop.
no, like it's amazing. So I was walking in the dark, and this bear, like he's up on this hill, and he had crossed my path after, and so I'm like, "Hey, Mr. Bear," and I'm like, "I love you," and his ears pop up, and he sits down, and it was almost like he waved at me, and I was like, "Man," I'm like, "Hey, you have a great day, Mr. Bear. Keep on going," and his ears popped up again, and then he got up and started.
I can't with you. Lily, on our last podcast, he talked about how he had a picture of his dog going nose to nose with this big, like, pile
Snake.
or a snake. It was a snake. He was wrangling with snakes. And then there was a big old pile of bear poop right next to his house that he was hanging out with the other day. I'm over this, Milan. I'm not doing this anymore.
I was snake wrestling last week. Like it was a big 6-foot snake, Lily. It was crazy.
He's like, "I got a picture of my dog going nose to nose with it." I'm like, "What's wrong with you? No,
Yeah, I do. I do.
Better calm down, boy."
I am living a life mixed with nature here. That's for sure. Okie dokie. You got another question, Andrew?
I do. Let's see. Yes. So how do you handle situations that could threaten your freedom emotionally, mentally, or spiritually? Miss Lily.
Sorry, I was just trying not to read that next text that was coming through.
Oh,
Sorry,
no worries, no
I
worries.
apologize.
Actually, I'm going to ask a different question because I'd rather this. So, in what ways has your definition of
Apologize.
freedom changed as your clean time has grown? What ways has your definition of freedom changed as your clean time has grown?
Hmm. Well, we were just talking about gratitude, which I was listening to you both there talking. I'm like, I think I answered that question wrong, but it's okay. Carrying on. Uh, uh, hit me again with the question. I
In
apologize.
what ways has your definition of freedom changed since your clean time has grown?
Oh my goodness, there's a lot here. Yeah, not just accountability and responsibility, but acceptance of I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to live a good, healthy life for the remaining of the years that I have. And on top of that, being present, I think that's another one. And I'm able today to have that choice if I'm gonna, and I wake up every day, I'm not, I don't want to be a miserable, bitter woman when I'm older. That's where I'm at right now. And I was miserable. I was bitter and yeah, and the ego had a lot of part to be enabled. So yeah, that freedom, along with happiness and joy and love, like all the love, unconditional love that I've received from those rooms. I never even received that growing up as a little girl. So yeah, at the beginning it was all unknown, it was all foreign, and today I just embrace it. It fills my cup. It fills my recovery. It gets me from 1 hour to the next hour, one day at a time. I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a bad cold, Andrew. So and I'm starting to stop smoking, so I'm down to 5 cigarettes a day rather than 15.
Oh,
So
yes, yes, Lily,
the
yes,
freedom, the freedom of
yes,
not smoking. No more fire for
yes,
cigarettes.
That's right.
yes.
But and yeah, I'm today t- today the choice. I have the choice if I want to go back. This is part of the freedom back to those people, places and things, and there's no way. I don't need that. It's in my past. It's part of the experience, right? So again, I got to be kind to myself, mindful, stay humble, stay in the era, in the moment of the era that gratitude is a huge part because I believe I will not be given another chance at this if I decide to go back to that past and continue doing all of that. No, it's not going to happen. So again, staying in my own lane respectfully and practicing those principles respectfully and working on those steps and the other thing also I shared the other night, you could do those steps 10, 20, 30 times with that. And I get it. There's ones that have been in the recovery room 30, 40, 50 years. And, today I can see a lot of arrogance and ego and this and that, but that's part of their recovery. Some people like, again, back to the slandering and this and that. I'm just like, just let them. Like, if that's what they want to do and that's how they want to behave and whatnot, just learn from that that's not the way you want to behave and that's not the way you want to work your program. So yeah, the freedom of all of this and yeah, it I came from and where I'm at today. But I don't beat myself up anymore. So no regrets in the fact that where I was and why didn't I figure this out earlier and why didn't I surrender and no. So no more victimizing and self-sabotaging and all that crap either. I'm not part of that world. It's just a different mindset and a different era. My nose
Love
is
you,
starting
Lily.
to run. I apologize. Oh, goodness.
It's
It's
okay.
okay.
I
That's all
love
right.
that.
That's all right. That's all right. You want me to ask you,
Yes, I
Milan?
do.
In what ways has your definition of freedom changed as your clean time has grown?
Whew, man. Okay. I never realized the freedom that I was giving away by living in total reaction to others' actions. you know, like that acceptance of others and tolerance and surrender, like those things just weren't really on my radar. You know, like I was really good at living in resentments and blaming the shit out of the rest of the world. You know, like I was awesome. Like I was like, okay, it's Lily's fault for this and it's Andrew's fault for that. And, you know, and none of it was ever my fault. You know, I never had ownership of my reactions. And that now is a big part of the freedom that is allowing me to have peace growing in my life. That being able to step back and not just be a puppet for other people's like words and actions to dictate. Like I'm not saying that I'm 100% on it one bit, but what I'm saying is that first of all, I do have an awareness now, like an awareness that I never ever had. And I also know my part in it, like how I am actuating my reactions. And then, you know, and I'm trying, like I was saying, to sort of redefine love in my life, because the greater love and the more pure that I can have love, the less that that my I'm going to be like trapped in my old prison that I was, because then I can be free and not have to dictate my actions on your actions. You know, that whole keep no record of wrongs, like that is a freedom that I'm actively working towards now. I'm making myself very conscious of, because freedom to me lies in serenity, peace, and love right now. And that's it.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. So, in what ways has my definition of freedom changed since my clean time has grown? Well, when I first got clean, my definition of that term was very simple. It was really just not using. You know, not using was the whole goal. That was it. Um, and that was cool. You know, if I could get through the day without picking up, I felt like I was free, like I had freedom, because I had been so long without that. You know, and that was enough. You know, that obsession, the compulsion, um, just being able to hold that down long enough for a 24-hour period to not use a substance was enough. But as it's grown, as my clean time has grown, I've got almost 3.5 years now. My definition of freedom has expanded like tenfold. Um, Freedom doesn't come from what I'm free from. Okay, it comes from what I'm free to do. Right, like that's the switch. There is, I'm not just free from active addiction. No, I'm free to do whatever I want, man. My living clean tells me if I'm willing to move towards my dreams, a lot of times I blow right through them. I just got to be willing to move towards them. Mm-hmm. You know, so freedom for me has changed in a way where I'm not free from all this bad shit. I'm free to go towards the good shit. You know, and so freedom to me also is just being present in my life today at the moment, in every moment. You know, I can show up, I can make a commitment and actually be a man of my word. I was the maybe man in active addiction. I was not even the maybe man. They'd call me the maybe man because I wouldn't be there. They could call me the not show up guy. Tell me whatever you want. But my pops used to call me the maybe man. He still calls me when I would talk to him. He still messes with me. But you know, that in early recovery, I thought freedom meant like being able to do whatever you want without consequences. And that's not the case. You know what that is? For me, that is liberty disguised. It's self-will disguised as liberty. That's your self-will disguised as some liberty or some kind of other action. But freedom is not doing whatever you want without consequences. You know, it's freedom has structure for me today. You know, that structure is the very thing that keeps me free. It's not about not having structure. It's about being structured. That's how we stay free. And it's built on spiritual principles today, like honesty, humility, responsibility. You know, those principles create a safe place for me to go without chaos. Because as we know, we're addicted to chaos. It's a familiar chaos. It's an unfamiliar peace that we're looking for. And so now another thing is that the freedom for me is not about me anymore. I thought freedom was about myself. Like if I was free, if I felt free, If I was doing well, that's freedom for me. And that's not the case, man. Again, we got to give it away if we want to keep it. I have to give that shit away. I've got to be concerned with other people and being able to spark that fire for other people today. You know, that's how this thing comes full circle. We work all these steps on ourselves to get to step 12 to realize it has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with us. It's about how serviceable are we to another human being today? How serviceable are we today to each other? That's how this thing goes around. That's the self-love piece. That's how other people take care of us. When we're not peaceful, when we are lacking in that peace department, the people that we keep peaceful when they're not, keep us peaceful. It's the hamster wheel of beautifulness. It's just beautiful, man. It's beautiful. We all got to help scratch each other's backs. You know what I mean? And willingness without action is fantasy too. We got to take action. It says that in our literature somewhere. So, and remember this, love in the negative aspect is not explosive at all. Think about that. In the negative terms, love is not explosive at all. But when you talk about positive things, love is the most explosive thing in the world, man.
Woo.
The most explosive, man. Love you guys. Lean into that love.
I think that's wonderful.
Andrew's all about love and fire and gas stations today.
Yeah, that's right. That boy's got his gas company lit up.
I love it.
Lily,
Texaco.
you have anything you want to say here at the end before we cash out?
Oh, my cup is full. I had to go grab another one. I actually went and grabbed the jug. I'm going to fill up my jug today. And
Yes.
yeah, this is some beautiful, like, not only are we walking miracles, but I love how Andrew ended that with as we you know, and that's what we can give each other is support, love, kindness, you know, respect. And too bad, you know, none of this is introduced in schools, these steps, you know, and to be, I know I get it that there are avenues for the youth or the community can take, but it's when the problem has already erupted. I guess you want to, if it's already exploded, but yeah, on the universe here. And the ones and hopefully, you know, in between all of that, they find one of us and they find these recovery rooms because recovery is possible. And I'll just keep about today. That's some good stuff. Andrew, and a meeting here at noon.
Lily, are you? I was gonna say, is she with us? I was gonna ask her if she was filming this from Mars. Oh, is she there? There she is. Are you on Mars right now, Lily? Are you filming this from Mars? Are you on the planet Mars right now?
Where'd you go, Lily?
I don't know. There was a little bit of a glitch.
That was crazy.
We were like, whoa, she left without saying goodbye.
Yeah, you everybody just stardusted out here, man.
Tune in next episode for more recovery fun. Bye-bye, everybody. We love you. Please help us help others. If you like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.